looking forward to that.
OK, all right, see you later on. Thank you.
Thanks, Laurie. Would you recycle more if you got something out of it? It's an idea that's being put to the test in some areas of the country where people are being given vouchers or a reduction in their council tax in exchange for going green.
According to a new study, some of us simply don't care about what we do with our old papers and bottles. 1 in 5 said they have no interest in being green, and 1 in 4 said they don't get anything out of it.
We'll talk about it in a minute. First, we asked whether you recycle and is it worth the effort?
We have no room to put all this rubbish. We need to get rid of it, and we can use the stuff we recycle. So why wouldn't we recycle?
I think there's only a degree of time that you can put into doing certain things like that. I think it's also a cultural thing, isn't it? It's a habitual thing.
When you see the media on television, it doesn't look as though the recycling goes to any constructive place. It looks as though in the end it all kind of gets shipped to, you know, third world countries, which doesn't really sit very well with me.
It is a pain due to you don't really know what you're supposed to put in now. You're putting food in, and now you can't put packages in. What packaging do you put? What colour in what bin? That's, you know, that's probably what it is.
Some of various people's thoughts there. We can discuss that now with Andy Walker from Keep Britain Tidy, Rob Crumbie from Greenredeem, which has been trialling incentive schemes. He's in our Millbank studio. Very good morning to you. Rob, can we start with you? Can I just check something? How do you check who's doing what and whether they are indeed putting the right things in the right bin? Who does that job?
Well, that's a great question, and our system's built on trust. We have a variety of systems that we run where household residents will recycle, and sometimes we reward them based on weight, and sometimes we reward them based on participation. But the system's built on trust, and the figures that we've had over the last couple of years show that that trust is borne through. We've seen some terrific recycling rates come through in our local authorities, which suggests that that trust is well placed.
Well, what it seems to show, Rob Crumbie, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you sort of incentivise people, it makes a difference.
Absolutely, these are our findings, and we found that over the last couple of years we work with vanguard local authorities like the Royal Borough of Windsor and Halton Borough Council, and their recycling rates, at a time when English recycling rates are plateauing, their recycling rates have increased by up to 3 times the national average.
What kind of incentives are you offering them then?
We offer residents a variety of incentives. Residents first of all earn Greenredeem points, and they can then choose to use those points for a variety of different rewards with shops and businesses, from national brands and high street chains through to the local coffee shop. But in addition to that, what we find also very motivating for members is the fact they can donate their points towards local community projects. So by doing good in recycling, they can also do good within their local community too.
Andy Walker's from Keep Britain Tidy with us in the studio. It's interesting, we've got quite a few emails on this morning. Julie has written to us, all my rubbish, she says, goes in the grey bin. It's how it's always been. Nothing will get me to change my ways at my age. There are far more important things to bother about than sorting through stupid plastic boxes. Now, I suppose is it the situation we're in now, is it that some people, those who want to, have already done it, and we're down to a hard core of people who are very hard to reach? Is incentives the way?
I'm not sure that it entirely is. I think, you know, you can incentivise people to do a lot of good behaviours, and it's something that Keep Britain Tidy is quite familiar with, the whole sort of nudge concept of getting people to do the right thing. But I think the important thing to recognise on recycling is that we have to do more of it. Councils get penalised if they don't recycle. We can't keep sending stuff to landfill. And I think for local authorities and recycling, 3 things really need to be in place. One, there needs to be excellent service provision by the waste provider.
So it needs to work.
It needs to work, yes. It needs to be seen to work as well. So the infrastructure that's there, making it easier for people to recycle, needs to be there as well. But there also needs to be excellent communications with the local community. And I think, you know, the points that Rob's talking about around personalised incentives, I'm a little bit dubious about. I think, you know, I think we need to see a lot more evidence on that before we even, you know, I think would countenance that on a mass scale. The more interesting thing, I think, is when you actually get a community engaged. We work with communities up and down the country to get them to improve and increase their recycling rates, and that's more of a collective thing. People doing the right thing because it's the right thing for their community, not just because they get a, you know, particular advantage personally out of it.
Yes, I mean, but if it works, and Rob was saying that he sees evidence that it works, you'd still disagree, would you?
I'm not sure that it does work in all cases. There are examples where similar schemes have been used in other areas of the country, and I know that some in London were used, and they didn't actually lead to any discernible increase in recycling. I think the bigger issue here is actually working with local communities and raising people's sights in a good way to do the right thing for the benefit of communities. For us, that's the better way to go, because then you're actually looking at the wider environmental issues rather than just one particular area, and I think that would be more sustainable actually.
And Rob, just one last thought. Steve has got in touch and said we should get a reduction. He says the councils save money on landfill tax. They sell off the paper, the glass, the tins for profit. We didn't see any of that money coming off our council tax bills. Has he got a point as well?
Well, undoubtedly local authorities do save money because they're not paying the landfill tax that comes with every kilo of waste that goes to landfill. And that will filter back undoubtedly into local authority funds and will have an impact on maintaining frontline services or maybe reducing council tax. So it will come through. It may just not be as transparent as perhaps your viewer is hoping for. OK,
Rob Crumbie, Andy Walker, thank you both very much.
Thanks both. It is 7:45, 7:45. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News. Main stories here this morning. The Climate and Energy Secretary, Ed Davey, will outline plans for a yearly review of the industry to keep prices competitive for consumers.